One of the richest people in human history, Andrew Carnegie, apparently said that 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. Real estate can be a great investment. Sure, but I wonder, do you have to have real estate in order to become a millionaire? And if so, what are the exact steps to make money with real estate from 100 euro all the way up to 1 million euro? Let me tell you in this PerFinEx real estate video. You can actually make money with real estate without even owning real estate. What? I'm talking about real estate ETFs, exchange traded funds, or REITs, real estate investment trusts. Fundamentally, both work the same way. With one single investment, you buy an entire basket of different properties or companies in the real estate sector. Sounds nice, right? Because you get instant diversification and avoid the cluster risk when buying real properties on your own. And it's also nice that these real estate ETFs or REITs usually pay dividends from the rental income they get. So you can also make a couple of €100 in dividends here. Could you also make a couple of thousands in dividends? Sure. But as the dividend yield is usually a couple of percent only, let's take 2% as an example, you would need to invest 50,000 euros to make 1,000 euros a year in dividends. And with 50,000 euros, you can also buy a property on your own, which would make you a lot more money. You'll see later on. And of course, these 1,000 euros in dividends are pre-tax, which you would have to pay 25% capital gains tax on. With real properties, you get tax benefits, while you have to pay taxes with real estate ETFs or REITs. And that's no good. So all of this sounds nice on the surface. You get diversification and you get dividends, but something does not work out here at all. Look at the German real estate index GREX, which we featured in one of our latest videos, growing very nicely with a little dip because of the increased mortgage rates from 2021. And now let's take a look at the iStocks Germany Real Estate Capped 20 index, basically the top 20 real estate companies here in Germany. The German real estate index almost doubled since 2017. And the top 20 German real estate companies lost 20% in value. How the actual does that work? Something is not right here, and investors paid for that big time. So let's ignore real estate ETFs and REITs, and let's talk about owning properties for real. Speaking from years of experience in having meeting with you guys, which you can book right here by the way, the most common request is that the rent payment should cover at least the mortgage payment, so you make some cash flow from rental income, which I don't understand, to be honest. Let's take a property from perfinex.de/properties as an example to show you that the positive cash flow you want will cost you hundreds of thousands of euros. The property costs 300,000 euros, and since it is here in Bavaria, we have 5.5% closing costs only, the lowest in Germany. So your minimum investment to cover the closing costs is 15,100 euro. If you're good at math, you already figured out that that's not 5.5% of 300,000 euros. It's lower. Why? Because we did some tweaks with the renovations and the furniture, so whoever buys this property will save almost 1,500 euros in closing costs. You're welcome. With 0% down, you are not gonna get the best mortgage rate possible, of course. That's why we calculated with 4% here. But since real estate investors can deduct the interest from their taxes with up to 42%, your real net interest rate is 2.3% only. The equity, the amount that you bring in, is a lot more valuable than 0.some% change in mortgage rate. You'll see in a moment. The rule of thumb that I mentioned in a lot of videos works out almost perfectly here. For 100 euros a month, you can afford a 100,000 euro mortgage. And that's why the cash flow here is minus 285 euros a month for 300,000 euros. That's a bad investment because of the negative cash flow, you might say now. Okay, then let's make a down payment. With 10% down, your investment goes up to 45,000 euros. Your mortgage rate might go down to 3.5%, that's certainly positive, and your cash flow will be almost positive, which is minus 35 euros a month. So how about we put 20% down? 75,000 euro investment, 3% interest rate, and finally a positive cash flow with almost 200 euros a month. Pre-tax cash flow, of course. The after-tax cash flow in the line below was positive from the very beginning with at least 240 euros a month. Why? Because of all the nice tax benefits that you get when investing in real estate. Which of these three scenarios is the best now? There's one clear answer to this, at least in my opinion. Which one do you think it is? Stop the video right here if you want to guess. Hands down, the best scenario is the first one with 0% down. Why? Because your return on equity after tax is almost twice as high as in the other two scenarios. And so everyone understands how massively different the three scenarios are. Here's an investment calculator with a historical rate of the stock market of 7%. In the 0% down payment scenario, you have the most amount of money to start investing with. 59,880 euros more than in the 20% down payment scenario. 47,980 euros minus 15,100 euros. But here you have the lowest cash flow because you make only 240 euros a month after tax. In the 20% down payment scenario, you make almost 547 euros after tax. So 307 euros more than in scenario 1. So if you compare the three scenarios, each with their down payment as starting capital and the cash flow as monthly investment, you get this result. After 10 years, the guy with the 20% down payment has almost 53,000 euros invested. Not bad, but we can do more. The guy with 10% down payment has almost 87,000 euro invested. And the guy with no down payment has by far the highest amount invested with almost 118,000 euros. More than twice as much as the guy with the 20% down payment. Now talk to me again about your little positive cash flow, knowing that you have to pay for it with tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of euros. Baby, someone can help me understand in the comments here. But I still don't understand you guys. Especially since negative cash flow is not forever. After maybe 3 to 5 years on average, the property should become cash flow positive. And that's the time to buy another property. So you can enter the next category, 1,000 euros from real estate. You're probably not gonna get more than 1,000 euro with a single property because you have a mortgage to pay, renovations, property management, insurance, so you would need multiple properties. And the big question is, of course, do you buy one big property or multiple small ones? I like multiple small ones because you can diversify. Different properties, different location, different tenants. And if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you know that diversification is key to investment success. Now over time, if you have a couple of small units already, you can start buying your first multi-family house and then diversify from there. And how that works, you'll see in a moment. One step at a time though, just like in the game Monopoly. You start with a small house first, buy a second one, and eventually you can buy a hotel later on. Another way to make more than 1,000 euro with real estate is to file your taxes. Yes, it can be that easy. Here's the detailed calculation of the 300k property that we had earlier. And I know this looks confusing, but stay with me. If you buy a home to live in yourself, you get basically 0 tax benefits. But if you buy an investment property and rent it out, you get all the tax benefits. You can deduct the Hausgeld, your interest rate you paid back, the depreciation of the property, and of course the renovations. Meaning that you will make a taxable loss of more than 14,000 euros in the year that you purchase the property. Sounds bad, but this is actually what you want as a real estate investor. You want a real world profit, but a taxable loss to get thousands of euros in tax benefits. And with a 42% income tax rate, you will get more than 6,000 euros from Finanzamt when you file your taxes. So looking at the net cash flow after tax, you are so positive with your 3,500 euros in year 1 that you outweigh all the other 3 to 4 years until you are really cash flow positive. And between year 7 and 8, you make so much money that you cannot hide it anymore and you make a taxable profit, which means in theory that you have to pay taxes on your rental income. But you are smart and buy another property before that. So the cycle starts again and you never pay a single cent in taxes. And before any one of you guys starts raging in the comments now, yes, all of this is completely legal. Every real estate investor does it the exact same way. And no, I didn't write the rules of the German tax code. So if you don't like it and hate that I try to pay as little taxes as possible, don't hate the player, hate the game. You've just seen that we got a little over 6,000 euros in taxes with one property. So in order to break into the next category, we need multiple properties to get more than 10,000 euros when filing our taxes. And to boost your tax benefits even further, you can buy a renovation property, because nothing else will be more tax efficient. Let's say you buy a property for 250,000 euros. And because you are smart and utilize one of the 7 real estate tax tricks that we talked about in a video before, you separate the ground from the property into something like this, for example. Depends on where the property is exactly, there are limitations of course. Here in Munich, ground is extremely expensive and Finanzamt will F you up if you make the ground price artificially too low. Let's calculate with an easy 200k as property value, excluding the ground. Maximum 15% of the property value can be declared as renovation costs. Maximum 15%. That's why we always go for like 12 or 13% for clients to leave a little wiggle room. Because if you go over the 15% in the first 3 years, all the costs have to be depreciated over the property lifetime. And that's no good because we want the tax benefits now. And with a 42% income tax rate, you would get 12,600 euro tax benefits when declaring 30,000 euros taxable costs. And now it gets real interesting. How can you make more than 100,000 euros with real estate? More than twice as much as the average German salary just with real estate alone. Of course you can do 10 times the things we discussed so far, but this is either gonna take a long time or a lot of money. So we need something different here. You heard me talk about the 10-year time frame in this video multiple times. And for good reason. Because you can sell investment properties completely tax-free after holding them for 10 years. Imagine you would have been one of the people that bought a property in 2014 when the German real estate index GREX was right around 150. Over the last 10 years, you would have gotten nice rental income, thousands and thousands of tax benefits, and now with the GREX being double, you could cash out completely tax-free. Give me one other investment that gives you passive income, tax benefits, and allows you to boost your return with leverage. Just one. I don't know any. When you are in this category to make more than 100,000 euro with real estate, you probably started investing quite a while ago and climbed up the ladder. Or you started with a lot of money, which statistically speaking, not a lot of people do. So you're probably in this for quite some time. That means it may be time to start buying multi-family buildings instead of individual units. What's the benefit? You have no owners association, WEG in German. So you can do with the property whatever you feel is right. A lot less bureaucracy and a lot less stress. And now that we are in the last category, how to make 1 million euro with real estate, let me tell you how not to do it. Here's a meeting request that we received a while ago, and let me tell you, this has disaster written all over it. First, because it is for friends. No bank here in Germany will check the financial situation of 4 people for one mortgage. And if 2 of those friends are married, we are already talking about 6 people that need to be checked. Why will the bank check their spouses as well? Because a bank wants to know if they are, for example, married to a self-employed person that owes tens of thousands of euros to Finanzamt in tax money. And then there's this thing with the real estate GmbH company. Do you pay less taxes with a real estate GmbH than you do privately? Yes, possibly. But a real estate GmbH company will cost you thousands of euros in fees every single year. So to make that tax benefit worth it, you need a property portfolio somewhere in the low millions at least. It's cool to have this goal in mind, and I wish you all the success in the world, but no one in his right mind starts with a real estate GmbH. Start buying properties privately first and then sell them after 10 years, tax-free, to your own real estate GmbH if that's what you really want to do. By that time, you hopefully have enough property value to make the GmbH worth it. And for the last one, when this video comes out, I was probably at the notary already, and that means something big is coming at you. Because if you want to make millions of euros with real estate, we are talking about some form of business. And the massive learning from the real estate security tokens business failing earlier this year is that I need more control. I need more control over all the involved parties to make sure that everyone does their job. And that's why I will take a board seat in a company that you may or may not have seen here on the channel before. We are already working on the first big projects for you guys, and this will be big. So great news will be coming your way here on the channel soon. What did we learn in this video? I want you to take away one thing from this video and one thing only. Many creators here on YouTube and many of you guys that we have meeting with focus on positive cash flow. But we've seen it earlier on and the numbers don't lie. Positive cash flow is meaningless in the bigger picture. You're focusing on the wrong things, my friend. Who cares if you make 100 euros cash flow while you could make thousands or even tens of thousands by leveraging your real estate investment correctly? And if you want to know how you can make that work for you, you can book a free meeting with us on perfinex.de/meeting. I thank you for watching and I see you next Sunday.